the only thing that can hijack your brain within seconds. A substance responsible for nearly 4.5 million deaths since its discovery, and something that more than 50% of users fail to quit. Its name is cocaine. Yes, this simple white powder dramatically increases the risk of heart attacks, triggers serious health emergencies at a young age, and silently destroys relationships and financial stability. But how was such an extremely dangerous substance ever discovered? The story of cocaine begins with the coca plant, a small shrub native to the Andean region of South America. Archaeological evidence shows that coca leaves have been used for over 8,000 years. Indigenous people of the Andes would chew these leaves or brew them into tea to fight high-altitude sickness, reduce fatigue, and boost energy during physically demanding work. Everything changed in 1859. A doctoral student at Göttingen University in Germany, Albert Niemann, successfully extracted a powerful alkaloid from coca leaves and named it cocaine. By the 1880s, cocaine had exploded in popularity. Even Sigmund Freud, the famous neurologist, promoted it as a treatment for depression and sexual dysfunction, publishing multiple papers praising its benefits, before eventually realizing its dangers. In medicine, cocaine quickly found its place. It was widely used as a local anesthetic for eye, ear, and throat surgeries because of its unique ability to numb tissues, while also constricting blood vessels, which helped reduce bleeding during procedures. Why people use it? Despite the overwhelming risks, cocaine users still report powerful effects that keep pulling them back. The most common reason is the intense euphoria. It's often described as one of the strongest pleasures a human can feel, creating a sudden surge of confidence, energy, and complete social disinhibition. At the same time, its stimulant effect temporarily reduces fatigue and increases alertness, something many users mistake as improved productivity. But what's really happening inside the brain? Cocaine directly targets the central nervous system through three key neurotransmitters: dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. It works as an SNDRI, a serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine reuptake inhibitor, which means it blocks these chemicals from being reabsorbed back into the nerve cells. As a result, dopamine begins to accumulate in the brain's synapse, and that buildup creates an intense wave of pleasure and euphoria, the very feeling that reinforces the urge to use it again. This sudden flood of dopamine is what creates the high, but over time, the brain adapts, and it becomes harder, and eventually almost impossible, to feel pleasure from normal, everyday experiences. Impacts the cardiovascular system. It acts as a powerful vasoconstrictor, narrowing blood vessels and increasing blood pressure. At the same time, it speeds up the heart and can trigger dangerous, irregular rhythms. This combination is deadly. It dramatically increases the risk of heart attacks, strokes, and sudden cardiovascular emergencies, even in young, otherwise healthy individuals. In fact, over 4.5 million people have lost their lives due to cocaine use since its creation. The damage isn't just physical. Psychologically, it can lead to severe depression, anxiety, paranoia, and even full-blown psychosis. And socially, it tears apart relationships, destroys careers, and drains financial stability. When someone stops using cocaine after a period of regular use, the body doesn't simply return to normal. It crashes. During the first 1 to 3 days of abstinence, users often experience extreme lethargy, increased sleep, and vivid, often disturbing dreams. In more severe cases, even suicidal thoughts can appear. Between day 4 to 7, the struggle becomes more psychological. Mood swings, irritability, anxiety, and difficulty concentrating begin to take over. At the same time, there's an inability to feel pleasure, a direct reflection of the brain struggling to restore normal dopamine function. By week 1 to 2, some symptoms reach their peak intensity, and while the physical symptoms may begin to fade, the psychological ones often don't. Depression, anxiety, and intense cravings can persist for weeks, sometimes even months. This entire crash is rooted in one powerful mechanism: dopamine. Cocaine prevents the reuptake of dopamine, causing it to flood the brain's reward circuits at levels far beyond anything natural: food, sex, or social connection. And the brain adapts fast. It reduces its own dopamine production and decreases the number of dopamine receptors, which means over time, users need more and more of the drug just to feel the same effect. This is what makes cocaine extraordinarily addictive. Now, how is it detected? The most common method is urine testing. Cocaine metabolites can usually be detected for 2 to 4 days after last use. For heavy or chronic users, this window can extend to 10 days or more. Blood tests have a much shorter window. Cocaine is typically detectable in blood for only 1 to 2 days. Because of this, blood testing is usually reserved for medical emergencies or forensic investigations. Then comes the most long-lasting method, hair follicle testing. Cocaine and its metabolites become embedded in growing hair, making it detectable for up to 90 days after use, and sometimes even longer in heavy users. As a general rule, each centimeter of hair represents about 1 month of growth. Even the method of use matters. Injection and smoking usually lead to faster clearance, while snorting can slightly extend detection time. Cocaine severely affects not just the user, but even the most vulnerable. An unborn child. It constricts blood vessels, reducing the flow of oxygen and essential nutrients to the developing fetus. This restriction can lead to fetal distress, impaired growth, and in severe cases, even fetal death. Research has consistently shown that cocaine use during pregnancy significantly increases the risk of miscarriage, stillbirth, premature delivery, and low birth weight. And this is where the story shifts, because the most effective way to deal with cocaine is not treatment after damage, but prevention before it begins, through awareness, through education, and through real support for those struggling with addiction. People can break free from its grip and begin rebuilding their lives step by step in recovery.